Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Efikona Neware. I'm the chair of the occupational therapy program here at SUNY Downstate, and it's really a treat. It's really a treat to see you all here today and to celebrate Downstate and its 60 years of occupational therapy education is really something I've been saying. It's a long time in the making. You know, when I joined as chair in 2022, I realized, oh my goodness, so many years of graduates, and finally we're here today as a community. So I just want to welcome you and thank you for coming. So let's give it up for all of us. Of course, I have to give my thank yous. This has been a spectacular setup. Many people have contributed to this organization and this day. The first begins with Miss Alethea Aline. I'm not sure if she's around, but when you see her, she was at the table with the yearbooks. Say thank you, and she really did a lot to put this special day together. I also want to thank our Professor Emeritus, Dr. Joyce Sabari. You know, we'll hear a lot more words from you later today, but this is something I felt compelled to do and honor the great legacy that you have and what you've done for our school. We also have NYSOTA President Beth Chirillo, who will also share some good words. I also want to recognize Interim Dean Desport. There you are. I couldn't miss the red. And I appreciate your leadership and the direction the school is going. And our media services people, SUNY Global, what a nice facility. Our catering, a lot has gone into today to make it special. Also, we have current faculty here. I want to call out and shout out Professor Richard Sable. Yeah. Dr. Nancy Klein. Dr. Crystal Brewington is here. Okay, we have Dr. Vikram Patton there. I feel like I'm missing someone. Dr. Tribble. Where's Dr. Dawn Tribble? She's here. Always camera shy. But also we have Dr. Vanessa Vallis-Lewis from the Dean's office. So a lot of people came out in support. But before I begin with the words, I want to get a sense of who else is in the room. Who else is in the room? So how many alumni, by a big show of hands, how many alumni are in the room? Yes. And just for fun, who is the earliest graduating alumni? The earliest. What year? 1974. Yeah, do we have 73? 1973, 75? Okay, what about our most recent graduate? You know what? Like 6 months ago. You're right. Yes, so let's give them and everyone in between a big round of applause. Today, we gather to celebrate 60 years of occupational therapy education here at SUNY Downstate. 60 years of students, faculty, clinicians, mentors, community partners, all working together to improve lives through occupational therapy. For those of you who have been a part of this program, you know that you are part of a legacy that stretches across generations and across countless communities that have been impacted by your work. This afternoon, we'll spend some time recognizing that legacy. We'll celebrate the accomplishments of remarkable alumni who embody values of service, scholarship, innovation, leadership, and advocacy. And hopefully you've already taken some time to reminisce, to reconnect, to comb through our yearbooks and see your old photos from back in the day, and even make new connections that will continue long after today. As we celebrate where we've been, I also want to take a moment to talk about where we're going. Many of you know that we launched our post-professional occupational therapy doctorate in 2024. You've received a constant barrage of my emails. Our PPOTD program represents a new chapter that creates opportunities for practicing clinicians to deepen their expertise, to develop as leaders, to advance scholarship and shape the future of our profession. And, I'll happily talk to you more about it if you're ready. Or you can even catch up to any of the current students or graduates who are here. Where did I see you? Svetlana, Wendy, some of our current students and recent graduates. You can catch up with them and they can tell you all about their experience. We also have a redesigned master's program, which is now a 24-month curriculum that continues to provide students with a high quality, high value education at a competitive cost. Given the realities facing students today, rising costs of education, concerns about student debt, stagnant wages, I believe it is important that we continue to offer outstanding educational experience that is both accessible and provides a path for social and economic advancement. While the format has evolved, the commitment to excellence remains unchanged. Our entry-level master's students continue to receive an education that's grounded in academic rigor, evidence-based practice, and individualized support. They learn not only in the classroom, but through meaningful community engagement, hands-on experiences, and extensive fieldwork education. I think you were greeted earlier by our fieldwork coordinators, Dr. Jasmine Thomas, who I didn't mention earlier, or Professor Laura Park, who were upstairs, also on our faculty. We remain committed to preparing occupational therapists who are ready to lead, advocate, innovate, and meet the evolving needs of the communities that they serve. And while programs and curricula evolve, there's one thing that endures, and that's this community. One of my hopes is that everyone here continues to think of Downstate not simply as a place where you once earned your degree, but as a professional home, a place to return to reconnect, to mentor, to collaborate, a place to support the next generation of occupational therapists. And speaking to a lot of you earlier, I hear that. I hear the ways you remain engaged by serving as fieldwork educators, mentoring students. There's other ways you can stay connected to the program, such as be a part of our advisory board, come with us to some of our community outreach, even guest lecture in one of our classes. That I think our students find a tremendous benefit from hearing your stories, your lessons, your successes, even the challenges that you've experienced throughout your career. And the truth is that that connection benefits all of us. One thing that I've tried to do and be intentional about is creating moments that matter. And it's very easy for us to become consumed with the next assignment, the next exam, the next fieldwork placement, the next credential, the next promotion. And our students are often focused on getting into the program, getting through it, graduating, passing the MBCOT exam, and then getting the next job. And before you know it, years have passed and what feels like a blur. But I think it's important to pause as we're doing now, as we're doing today, and appreciate the journey, appreciate the people around us, and appreciate the impact that we're making together. There's a book called The Power of Moments that argues the most meaningful moments in our lives are not always accidental. They can be intentionally created. And the authors of this book describe 4 elements that make the moments memorable: elevation, insight, pride, and connection. And I think this gathering reflects all 4. There's elevation, right? You were out there, you feel the excitement of reconnecting, coming together to celebrate something larger than ourselves. There's insight, reflecting on how far we've come and the people along the way who really shaped our journey. There's pride, recognizing the extraordinary accomplishments of our alumni and the impact they've made on patients and students and communities and the profession as a whole. And most importantly, there's connection between us all, between students and mentors, between the past, the present, and the future. And those connections are the reasons that programs like Downstate continue to endure. Today is certainly about celebrating 60 years of history, but equally, it's about celebrating the future that all of us are continuing to build together. So for me to keep this afternoon moving along, let me say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this community. And thank you for helping create a moment that we all can remember. So thank you. So we have a really good lineup today in this formal part of the program. We started off with some mingling and some refreshments. I'm very pleased and honored to invite a few guests to the stage to say a few words, beginning with NYSOTA President Dr. Beth Chiarillo.
Hello, everybody. I am so honored to be invited to speak today. As NYSOTA president, I do have opportunities afforded to me to be able to do things like this, and this is definitely one of the highlights of my presidency so far, so thank you for inviting me here today. I echo Kona's welcome to everybody, to the practitioners, educators, students, and alumni who are here. And for starters, I'd like to thank Downstate for being lifelong supporters of NYSOTA. You've provided student memberships throughout the students' years here, and then encouraged the faculty to become active members in NYSOTA over the years. So what you learned here as a student, I can see you are carrying out, and I hope that most of you are members, and that if you are not, I have a discount code for you. So that's part of my little membership spiel. It's DS 2026. And so if you become a new member over the next week or so, you will have a 20% discount. For those of you who are not members, I thank you very much. NYSOTA has been under revitalization. And we have new things happening literally every couple of months. If you haven't been on our website recently, you really do need to go and see what we have. Some of the things to benefit you: virtual continuing education opportunities, dessert and dialogues every month, practice series in the areas of fieldwork, mental health, sexuality, and they're very inexpensive, and you get your CE credits. And if you go to the in-person annual conference, you'll get your CE credits for almost the whole year in one weekend, which is really nice. Plus, you can be networking with our community of practices. We have over 17 COPs right now, so there's bound to be one or more for you to join. They are by members, for members, and they are free. So whether you're new to the profession or thinking about changing your career into transitioning into a different practice area, there are practitioners who are running these COPs that will help you to see what's going on in those areas of practice across the state. And then, of course, we have opportunities for mentorship, leadership, and being involved, being creative, and having an impact by being involved in NYSOTA. I would say that NYSOTA's more important value to you is what we do by advocating for New York State in Albany. And I know that a lot of times in social situations, people don't really want to talk about politics. They don't like to talk about politics. This is not about politics. This is actually about professional preservation. So when you think about, excuse me, the legislative stuff that NYSOTA is doing, it doesn't have anything to do with politics. It has to do with your profession that you love in New York State thriving. And it's so important because decisions are made by non-medical people, by our legislators in Albany, that may or may not even know what occupational therapy is. And they're making decisions about what we can do in this state, as well as reimbursement, and basically affecting your wallet. So you need to be really involved, or at least be a member, because NYSOTA is going to be there to monitor what's going on. And it's our members who bring issues to us sometimes to tell us, I see this on the horizon, NYSOTA needs to be involved, and we do, and we are, and we can be because of our members. So membership dollars are important, but also membership numbers. When I go into Albany, or Jeff Tomlinson goes in to a legislator's office and they say, how many people are you representing? I would like to say I represent almost all the practitioners in New York State. Do you know how many practitioners, OT and OTA practitioners there are in New York State? Almost 20,000. There are not 20,000 members of NYSOTA. Actually, there's a lot less. So we are there to help all practitioners, educators, and students in New York State to be getting what they need to do to protect your profession. So I like to think of it this way. There is a large pizza on the table, and you can't sit down and get a slice of that pizza unless you're invited into the room, and you're invited to sit at the table. So how do they know that we want to be invited? How do they know that they need to invite us? It goes both ways, right? And then we get invited to sit, and that's NYSOTA. That's just raising the awareness of what occupational therapy is in New York State. And then we sit down at the table, and the people who yell the loudest are the ones who are getting the bigger piece of the pie, that bigger slice. We need the biggest slice possible. And then we sit there, okay, we got our slice of pizza, so we didn't do so badly. But now we have to protect that slice of pizza because someone's looking over our shoulder trying to steal a piece of pepperoni right off the top. And no, we want all our pepperoni too. So that's what NYSOTA is doing for you. It's protecting your slice of pizza with their pepperoni on top. And although you may not like pizza right now, next year, it might be pecan pie, and that you do like. So your practice setting right now may not be exactly what NYSOTA is working on right now, but that doesn't mean that next year, when new issues come up, it won't impact your practice setting next year. But NYSOTA needs to be strong every single year, and we are as strong as our membership and our volunteers. So our volunteers are very passionate. Okay, we have our board, we have our COP leaders, and we are all very passionate about OT. And the passion that I feel here in this room and the level of dedication from all of you mirrors that passion from NYSOTA. And it's just a wonderful way to bring people together, to take that passion and really be connected. And Downstate has a long history of being connected to NYSOTA. Yes. And I mean, a lot of the faces in this room are people that I've known for decades. As a matter of fact, sometimes I think to myself, how did I meet that person? And I'm like, I don't even know, because I just feel like I've known them my entire life, my entire professional life, because I was involved in NYSOTA as a new grad. And these were people who, some of them I was like, ooh, you know, they're like kind of important. And I was a little bit in awe, you know, but they became people that I could, inspired me and, kind of were role models for me. So we have this stroke study group under the guidance of Joyce Sabari, which was connected to NYSOTA. One of your students, who actually is here today, it was an originator in the OT Walk with NAMI, which is continuing today and also supported with NYSOTA. What? Right, and then faculty inspired those students, and they are continuing, Suzanne White being one, to be connected to NYSOTA. And also then those faculty plus others became the Mental Health Task Force, which is connected to NYSOTA. And NYSOTA used to have meetings here and events here. We used to go around to some of the different schools, programs in the metropolitan New York area to hold our meetings. So Downstate has been, very connected. You were speaking about connections for decades with NYSOTA. It really shows, because when we look around and we think back, we can really remember some of these times that we've had. So I started thinking about what this, talk would be about, and the word legacy came to my mind. And I looked up, of course, what the etymology of legacy is. Excuse me. And it comes from a medieval Latin root of body of persons sent on a mission. And it's evolved into a broader concept of leaving something behind or bequeathing something. And that made me really think about how, Downstate is a group of very dedicated, passionate people. When you have a mission, you have a passion. And when you have a passion that you really believe in, you want to leave something behind that keeps it going. And that's really what you all have been doing all of these years. When Downstate first started, I did a little history review, it started with German doctors who wanted to provide medical care and other care to German immigrants. So making an impact, leaving something behind, part of your legacy, started at the very beginning in the community. And then within the state, Downstate did one of the first open heart surgeries. And on a national, global level, you have Nobel laureates, record-breaking NIH grants, and several patents. Did you guys know how wonderfully impactful Downstate is? It's amazing. Of course you do. So the list keeps growing. And so I applaud you for the legacy, your individual efforts, your passion and dedication, which is your legacy as part of being here as in the OT program and at Downstate. I just want to share a personal perspective. One of the things that got me started in academia was one of my first guest lectures was in the area of work hardening, and I was invited to do it here. And I thought, I don't know if I can do this. Been a clinician for many years, but I never taught a class. Well, after I left that class, I was so excited. I really got bitten by the bug, so to speak. And it became a professional goal for me. I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I wanted to go into academia then, all those years ago. And slowly I've worked my way into being in academia. I've been in and out of different schools, universities for over 30 years in academia now. And I just really love it. And then my second memory, long time ago, was, as I said, I was in work hardening, and I switched practice areas. And I was in inpatient rehab, and I was supervising I was a fieldwork supervisor for a Downstate student who was assigned to me. And like on the first day, we got a referral for a foot drop splint. And you don't make a whole lot of splints in work hardening. So I'm thinking back to my, OT school days, wondering, how am I going to do this? Well, he just jumped right in. He's getting long pieces of paper towel. He's getting this big piece of splint material. He's going to the hydroculator machine because our splint pans weren't even big enough, right, when you make a foot drop splint. And so he's showed such initiative and such passion and such competence that I just stayed out of his way. And he made a great splint. And everybody was very impressed, and so was I. So that was really a culmination of what I had already been feeling about the reputation of the OT program here in Downstate, now embodied in a student. That clinical competence, that unwavering confidence, the initiation, and the knowledge, the complete knowledge that he had. And I thought that Downstate program's pretty darn good. Yes. So my congratulations to you on your 60th birthday. And I hope the next 60 are even better. Thank you.
Hey, I'd like to call our next speaker to the stage, someone who has really brought to her role of alumni engagement, alumni outreach, a lot of vigor and a lot of energy, and that's Dr. Vanessa Velez-Lewis, who wants to share a few words with you.
Thank you very much, Epicona. So welcome, everyone. Thank you. So yes, I'm the Assistant Dean for the School of Health Professions. Spend that a little bit here. And also the co-chair of the SOAP Alumni Association. It is a pleasure to welcome all of you here today. And as members of the occupational therapy community, you really all showed out. First and foremost, congratulations to today's honorees. Please give them a round of applause. Your contributions to occupational therapy, education, scholarship, mentorship, and service have left a lasting impact on this profession and on SUNY Downstate. We are grateful for your leadership and proud to celebrate you all here today. I also want to thank our faculty, staff, students, alumni, our family members who are here, and guests for being here as well. Events like this really do remind us that occupational therapy is more than just a profession. It is an actual community. One of the things I often remind our graduates is that while you may have spent only a few years here at SUNY Downstate, events like this remind us that occupational therapy in general goes far beyond just your 3 or 4 years here at Downstate. We're talking about being an alumnus for life. And I want you to think about this. You are a student for a few years, but you are an alumnus forever. This is why staying connected matters. The School of Health Professions remains committed to supporting our alumni long after graduation. Through continuing education opportunities, networking events, alumni programming, and professional development workshops, we strive to ensure that SOAP continues to be a resource throughout your career. We just recently hosted a pelvic rehab manual assessment and treatment techniques workshop where SOAP alumni actually received a discount just on registration. Opportunities like these allow alumni to continue building specialized clinical skills while remaining connected to the Downstate community. Being an active alumnus means more than simply staying informed. It means remaining engaged in a community of professionals who share a common foundation and commitment to advancing healthcare. Whether through attending events, participating in professional development, whether you serve as a mentor, or supporting our alumni initiatives, networking with fellow graduates, you are always encouraged to remain involved and connected. Most importantly, and as co-chair of the Alumni Association, I want you to understand that your voice does matter. We want our alumni engaged in shaping the future of SUNY Downstate. We want our alumni engaged in mentoring. We want us to continue to strengthen the programs that have impacted so many lives. And if you have not done so already, I encourage you to join the SOAP Alumni Listserv and follow us on social media. I had the pleasure of actually meeting some of you today and walking by and just introducing myself and asking some of you to join our listserv. So as at the end of this program, we're probably going to do a little bit more mingling. Please, I do encourage you all to join. Now, These are the best ways that we're going to keep you informed about our alumni events, continuing education opportunities, and our networking programs. We also send out a lot of school updates, so it's important that we have your updated information. I would also like to briefly highlight the Occupational Therapy Fund, a dedicated fund that supports the OT program and enhances opportunities for both current students and alumni. This fund has been made possible through the generosity of our alumni, faculty, parents of alumni, and friends of the program who believe in investing in future generations of occupational therapists. Those gifts make a real difference. Most recently, donor support helped provide support for our white coats for our newest students entering the profession. Gifts to the OT Fund directly support initiatives that strengthen the student experience, support alumni programming, and help ensure continued excellence of our program. As we celebrate today's honorees, I encourage you to consider how you might continue to support the next generation. Whether you decide to do mentorship, stay engaged as an active alum, advocacy, or even philanthropy, every contribution helps create opportunities for future students and strengthens the legacy of SUNY Downstate. Thank you for remaining connected to Occupational Therapy Program and the School of Health Professions. And congratulations again to our honorees, and I thank you for being here today. I look forward to meeting you all after this. Enjoy the rest of the program.
Thank you, Dr. Velez-Lewis. I actually want to give another big round of applause because of the generosity of the people in this room and those who are joining us from afar. Leading up to today, we met our fundraising goal. So I just want to give that up. And like Dr. Velez-Lewis mentioned, we try to support our students in different ways. Each year, we want to be intentional and create moments. One of the moments that we create is the white coat ceremony for our master's students. Because of the generosity of you and others like you, we're able to give or gift our students white coats as a symbol of a recognition for their transition from that didactic phase, I think many of you remember, and moving on into field work. So around the room, there are some QR codes, and in the hall, some QR codes that can link you to our donation page. And next to the stage, I would like to invite the Director of Philanthropy, Ingrid Dildy.
Thank you, Dr. Noor. I appreciate it. This was quite a surprise to me to have the opportunity. Afternoon. I just was so overwhelmed when I started there and saw how many people really, really remember SUNY Downstate, love it so much as to return and participate. The alumni of SUNY Downstate are amazing, and specifically the occupational therapy program. Thank you for coming tonight, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to see your loyalty. Before I talk about money at all, fundraising, philanthropy, I want to congratulate the new interim chair, specifically dean of the school, Dr. Desport. I'm very proud for her, and I wish her very well. We've known each other for many years, and I just respect her very highly. Now, the reason that I was asked to speak tonight, surprisingly, was because of Dr. Noor and my colleague, Ken Chan. My passion is fundraising for all elements of SUNY Downstate. I frequently get calls from graduates of any of our colleges saying, we want to give back to SUNY Downstate because it made my career. And you get on that other end of the call and you hear that, and you also hear the emotion in the person on that end. So while we have the gift of a program person, a technical person, and a technical leader, Ken Chan, who has updated our webpage for more giving and demonstrate the programs we have and the colleges we have. That's the best kind of experience, knowing that you, our alumni, remember how valuable we are, SUNY Downstate, no matter what college, but specifically this college, is to the world, is to Downstate, helping the community, and more people become professional. So the QR code is there, and it's on our website for a very important reason. We look forward to you as alumni not forgetting SUNY Downstate and giving back. Many of you have now graduated your children from school, and some of you are helping others because you're in that middle, like my daughter is, helping your children go to college. But any amount of consideration that you might have for giving back to Downstate, take a look at our website page and see what Dr. Noor and our new dean have done to reach out to each of you, heart to heart, to say, remember us, don't forget us, not just with tax season, but remember us. And just give a little. And as you go more into your profession or closer to retirement or get that first child out of college, give a little bit more. Because it does really make a difference when we can put on the scholarship page a new scholarship for a student that can't pay their tuition fully or pay daily living activities. And you know you've been there too. So we have scholarships listed for our colleges that take care of both. They take care of partial payment of scholarships. They take care of partial payment of daily living. Both are needed. Both are valued. And it doesn't matter. We don't say you have to make a $25 contribution on that QR code or when you go on our website. But do it, because it will be from your heart to another heart. I hope you will look at our website. I hope you remember how much the school means and has meant to you, and you will pass that on to the students that we value and that we want to replicate, as you are individuals of the profession that really make an impact. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. So to close out our opening remarks, I would like to invite to the stage new interim dean of the School of Health Professions, Dr. Bridget Desport.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Noor. Okay, so hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you. It is truly a joy and an honor to welcome you back as we celebrate the 60th anniversary of our occupational therapy program. To our alumni, spanning decades of practice, leadership, and impact, thank you for returning home. Your presence here today is a powerful reminder of what this program has always stood for: excellence, compassion, and a deep commitment to improving the lives of others. Whether you graduated recently or many years ago, you are part of a remarkable legacy, one that continues to grow through your work in clinics, communities, schools, research, and beyond. Today, we celebrate not only the program's history, but the collective impact of each of you who have carried its mission forward. So as we gather in celebration, we also pause to acknowledge a profound loss in our community: the passing of our beloved colleague, mentor, alumna, and friend, Dr. Margaret Kaplan. Dr. Kaplan was truly a cornerstone of our occupational therapy program and the School of Health Professions. She leaves behind an irreplaceable void, but also a profound legacy that will shape our community for generations. Dr. Kaplan's connection to this institution was deeply personal. As a proud member of the class of 1975, she carried her love for this program throughout her life, over decades of dedicated service as an associate professor, admissions coordinator, and as interim dean. She poured her heart into SUNY Downstate. She led with grace, with fierceness, and with an unwavering commitment to academic excellence. Beyond her leadership here, Dr. Kaplan was a visionary in the field of occupational therapy. She was a co-developer of the frame of reference for motor skill acquisition, a foundational framework that continues to guide pediatric occupational therapists around the world in helping children gain independence. Her dedication to early childhood development earned her the prestigious Emily Finichel Award, reflecting both her deep clinical expertise and her profound care for vulnerable populations. But for many of us, her greatest impact was personal. To her students, she was an inspiring and demanding educator, someone who challenged them because she believed deeply in their potential. To her colleagues, she was a champion of faculty governance, a trusted confidant, and a steadfast voice of integrity. And to all who knew her, she was someone whose intellect, kindness, and presence left a lasting imprint. As part of an effort to continuing honoring Dr. Kaplan's life and legacy, we will be creating a space on our School of Health Professions blog, where we will share the messages, memories, and tributes that many of you have already begun to send. We hope this will serve as a living archive, one that reflects the breadth of her impact and the deep admiration our community holds for her. So today, let us celebrate. Let us reconnect. Let us honor both our history and our future, and let us carry forward the legacy of those like Dr. Kaplan, who have made this program not just a place of learning, but a community of purpose and care. Once again, welcome back, and thank you for being part of this extraordinary journey.
Okay. So we are going to invite Dr. Joy Sabari, Professor Emeritus. Many of you were so excited to come and see her, and here she is. So without further delay, you ready? Come on up, Dr. Sabari.
Before I speak about my lecture today, I want to say a few words myself in tribute to Margaret Kaplan, great friend, colleague, and mentor for so many of all of us in this room. And I'll try not to repeat things that Dean Desport said, but you've heard that she was in the class of she graduated downstate. I have the class of 1976. But you may not know that in Margaret's early career, she worked primarily with children with developmental disabilities in institutional settings, which is something that we don't know about today. And this is when she became interested at the time, in the 1970s, was the emergence of assistive technology and technology for positioning systems, for postural support, and to promote engagement, even with very severe physical limitations. In the 1980s, Margaret really responded and gave service regarding the AIDS epidemic. I don't know how many people know about this, but she worked for Downstate's Infant and Child Learning Center, the ICLC, which established a dedicated classroom for infants and young children who were born And at that time, many of you were not even born yet, but that was quite a courageous thing to do. People were afraid to be in the same room with people who had AIDS. Nevertheless, young babies and children and their mothers who were all HIV positive and were sick with full-blown AIDS. Margaret worked there for many years, and while she worked there, she was still, of course, interested in improving children's performance capacity, and she earned a master's degree in motor learning at Columbia University, and that's where she got her ideas for motor control that she certainly shared with students. In 1990, Margaret joined the OT faculty as our pediatrics expert when Jill Rosenthal left to build her private practice. How many of you were lucky enough to take courses with Margaret? Yay! Yeah. So you remember what a passionate and dedicated teacher she was. She also maintained very strong collaborative relationships with physicians at Downstate's Department of Pediatrics, which went a great way to help our own program and to foster some of the good work that she did along the years related to early intervention and autism. She also secured lots of grant funding for equipment for the assistive technology class, which was also very young at the time. I had the pleasure of working with Margaret during these years in the 1990s, and she brought a sense of community to the faculty. And I just want to mention, amongst many more illustrious activities, Margaret was, at least for a decade, she was our faculty's unofficial Sunshine Fund coordinator. And she always made sure that somebody got a birthday card or any event in a faculty member's life was acknowledged through the Sunshine Fund. And I see some of the faculty smiling about this. And that and other things like eating lunch every day in the cafeteria with Margaret. Margaret had a coterie of people joining her every day for lunch and interesting conversation. And I think that led to a very strong sense of camaraderie and dedication among the faculty, which then spilled over, certainly, to all of the faculty's interactions with students. The dean mentioned that, in 1997, when Pat Strassman retired, Margaret took on the task of being interim chair for 2 years. She served as interim chair. And then in the 2000s, Margaret, of course, I continued with her as I took on the chair position, and Margaret had an idea to start a program let's figure out how to start a program so that we can give special training to our students and with them, which might involve scholarships in early intervention. And she developed the early intervention certification program. And I want to know how many of you participated in that early intervention certification program. Anybody? Yep. Okay. Opened up opportunities to students, and Margaret's first grant was a well over $1 million, which was all went to support for students who participated in this program, which continued for many years. During this decade, the early 2000s, when nobody really knew much about online learning. It was something, what is that? How could students learn online? Margaret was a pioneer there as well. She developed online modules for the assistive technology course. And you know that she became interim dean of the College of Health-Related Professions, which we were then called now School of Health Professions. and then later on was the Associate Dean for Program Development. And I don't know how many people know that in this capacity, Margaret played an important role in getting our OTD proposal through in New York State. And she also cleared the way for the ABA program, which has begun accepting students. So there is a new program in the School of Health Professions for people who want a degree in applied behavioral analysis with children with autism. So I just want to say that we will all remember Margaret with great fondness for her kindness, her wry sense of humor, her passion for serving the needs of children with disabilities and their families, and her talents as a teacher and a mentor. I miss her today. So my talk, Kona asked me to talk at this event, and I was very honored. And I want to welcome everyone to this party in celebration of 60 years of the Downstate OT program. I've had the pleasure of being involved with this program, first as a faculty member from 1985 to 1987. How many of you were with me at that time and during those years? Yeah. And then as chair from 2000 to 2017. After I retired, I was concerned that the program leadership was in flux for a few years, which it was, with new chairs coming and leaving after very brief stints. So now I'm extremely glad that we are under the, well, I must say, even before, though, the faculty continued to provide excellent education, even during that time of flux with the leadership. So I want to give a shout out, Nancy and Richard and Jasmine. Is Jasmine here? And of course, and Vikram and as faculty in the program. But I'm so glad that Dr. Nuwera Kona took the helm in 2022. And I can see the job you're doing. So I have to be honest with you, although I continued to see a few private clients immediately after I retired in 2017, and I shepherded a final article that was co-authored with some students who did one of the master's projects for that. And I soon stopped any professional activities as an OT. Instead, I took on a new role as a caregiver for my husband, Naftali, who many of you know. So Naftali is living with Alzheimer's dementia, and that's a journey. But every family has its journey, and we are doing well in meeting this journey. So my remarks this afternoon, after not being directly involved with OT, I decided that it would be interesting to reflect on what matters most for being an excellent OT. And these reflections are influenced not only by my own career, but also from some lessons from my caregiver role. As well as the wonderful experience that I had in talking with some of the alumni who I nominated for the Excellence in Excellent Alumni Award. So I thought, let's talk about what matters most in being an excellent OT, who some people will be especially honored today, but I have a feeling that everyone in this room, because we did attract a particularly special crowd, probably you all do these things already, but I hope you'll bear with me. Maybe one or two things that I say will say, oh, maybe I should do that too. So before I give my reflections on what matters most, I wanted to just get a sense of the audience. Kona got an idea at least gave me an idea of when people graduated, but I'm just curious, how many people graduated before 1996? Okay, so for you, I have regards from Pat Schrossman, who was chair, and she's living in Tucson, Arizona, and we're ongoing conversations, and she sends her best regards to everyone. And then I want to ask the group, where are you working? What kinds of practice areas are people working in? So first, how many of you are working in school settings, specifically DOE, Department of Education or other locale? Okay, so quite a few. How many people are working in preschool types of settings with children? Not so many, okay. Pediatrics clinic or home-based? Some? Oh, okay. Teens and young adults in any way? Okay, nice, I'm glad to see that. How many of you are working in hospital settings? Okay. Acute or short-term rehab? One, Evan, yeah, right, yeah, okay, all right. And okay, oh my gosh, Mallory, okay. Okay, long-term care? Anybody here working in long-term care? Okay. Home care, who's working in home care? Yay. Okay. Hand therapy, I know we've got a few outstanding therapists in hand therapy. And academia, I know we've got several people who are involved in academia. Okay. And how many of you are supervising other professionals in your roles? Okay, certainly students and other professionals. Okay. Okay, so my general outline for what I consider, what I'm reflecting on, what matters most, are four things. To really be an excellent occupational therapist, one, you need to be an expert in analyzing activity. Two, certainly respect clients and caregivers. Three, be a resource about communities and participation. And four, pursue lifelong professional growth. So let me talk about each of those areas. Being an expert at activity analysis. OT's expertise is in analyzing activities. That's what we learn to do. That's what we know how to do more than any other health professional. I consider this process of activity analysis to include, number one, collaborating with clients or caregivers to determine which activities are priorities for the person at this time that you're seeing them. Two, analyzing activity performance to determine what factors present challenges to this person at this time in performing activities. Three, adapting activities. Four, training in specific effective ways to perform selected activities. The next, teaching skills or remediating other challenges that limit activity performance. And then finally, we really need to teach our clients and or their caregivers how to develop their own ability to analyze activity. So let's talk about the types of challenges that can interfere with task performance. Well, number one, and probably the easiest thing to tackle, is a person doesn't know how to do a particular activity. You know, they've never been using a wheelchair before or maintain a wheelchair. But forgive me, because most of my examples will be either from my professional experience working with people primarily with stroke, but other physical disabilities, and my own personal experience. But other things that maybe the little child in public school doesn't know how to hold the pencil properly to have good handwriting, and that's something that an OT can help with. So doesn't know how, but the second, the second type of problem is that there are limiting factors that make it difficult to perform. And these limiting factors could be a variety of things. It could be that there are mechanical constraints, as in joint mobility or muscle weakness, which are important to remediate wherever that's possible. It could be that there are cognitive challenges due to neurological or disability or developmental disability. It could be that the person you're working with has behavioral or social constraints that hinder effective participation in group or other interactive activities. I can imagine that that would be an important part of what OTs working with school age and young adult clients are concerned with. The client may have difficulty processing salient sensory components of the materials or the task, or there can be environmental challenges such as accessibility or positioning, or the person has balance or postural problems. I'm sure you can think of other challenges, but the key is that an excellent OT picks up on the most salient limiting factors for each person. Unfortunately, I hear stories about people in nursing homes or even home care situations, and the person can't get in and out of bed, and the therapists are having the individual on an arm wheel. Like, is that salient to why the person is having difficulty in these most important activities? Okay. When I became a caregiver, I particularly noticed how often I used my skills in analyzing the motor and cognitive components of basic daily living skills. And my OT background has made it easier for me to determine my own physical handling and cueing strategies to help my husband maintain independence and safe performance for as long as possible. So, if an excellent OT picks up on the most salient limiting factors, I think it's useful to delineate between three categories of OT intervention. Compensation, where we adapt the activity or ways to perform, or we provide certain kinds of equipment. Task-specific training, and strategy development. So compensation is on adapting the activity of your environment so it's safer or easier to perform, which is extremely important. Task-specific training is preparing the person to perform specific tasks, usually self-care, in a single or unchanging situation. For example, doing a transfer from a wheelchair to the bed, or brushing your teeth with maybe a non-dominant hand, or doing previously bilateral activities, or at least trying to incorporate both sides of your body if it's possible. But task-specific training, which can be very important if your goal is to teach one thing for one context, is dependent on repetitive, consistent practice. If effective, the person can improve this particular task in this particular situation, but don't expect the person to generalize to a variety of situations. Strategy development is something different, and I think that all of you do strategy development with your patients, perhaps not using the same words that I'm using. A strategy is a foundational set of guidelines that influence action in a variety of contexts. So I'd like to differentiate between training to do a transfer and strategy for the practice of standing up and sitting down, which is something that I think most people can relate to. If we're just teaching a person to get from the wheelchair into some other place, then it's got to be consistent and repetitive. But if we teach a person the foundational strategy for standing up and sitting down, which is amazingly not known to many people, and in my experience with other caregivers and even professional caregivers, is that they don't really understand the foundational strategy for something as simple as standing up and sitting down. Certainly, I think many of you do, or at least those of you who are working, when that's the issue with someone. But the pelvis has to move. The trunk has to stay straight but flex at the hips. The person has to bring their center of gravity over their feet. They have to have an appropriate base of support. And if an individual can get that foundational strategy for standing up and sitting down, not in words, but in action, then that can be generalized to many different situations where an individual is going to have to do a transfer. All right, so strategies could be motor, they could be cognitive, they could be sensory processing strategies, they can be participatory behavioral strategies, but we have lots of literature now, in the last 30 years, we have lots of literature, which actually Margaret was a major force in bringing knowledge about motor control and motor learning to our profession. So what do we know about the motor? What do we know about motor planning and cognitive strategy from that literature? We know that people generalize best by applying rules, not always verbally named, but these rules can be applied in a variety of situations. How do we teach these rules? We give the basic idea, the ballpark idea, not necessarily in words, but and not by doing the same thing over and over again, but by applying the rules in a variety of different ways and a different practice situations. The person needs lots of practice during and outside of therapy sessions. And I like to propose, how many of you have taken piano lessons as, piano or any kind of instrument? That we can conceptualize the difference between piano lesson learning and gym learning in a gym. Piano lesson learning is where the teacher or the coach is setting a group of rules that the individual ultimately internalizes, but then gets homework to do over the week, and then comes back to the session and shows the therapist what they can do now. This is for strategy development. If that's not the goal in therapy, then that maybe not that this is important. But the therapist can see what the person's current level is, how they've progressed since the last session, and then use that to plan new homework for the next week or till the next time. And the key is for the person to feel motivated to complete the homework tasks, to show the therapist, to be accountable to the therapist for having done the practice and having solidified some of the rules of the strategy during that time. So that's what I consider to be excellent therapy, if your goal is to help people develop strategies of either motor, cognitive, behavioral, or sensory processing. The second category in my list of what matters most is respect. And obviously, everyone in this room respects all your clients and caregivers. OT inherently is a collaboration between the therapist, the client, and important caregivers. Yes, you're experts in task analysis. Yes, we need to have sophisticated knowledge about the performance components that are most relevant to each client, along with knowledge about effective ways to structure activities to either compensate, train, or promote strategy development. But an excellent OT who respects clients and caregivers asks questions and listens to what clients and caregivers express. Even with clients who have severe impairments, recognize each person's strengths and address them with respect, and be positive about realistic goals. One way, I think, of showing respect is to do our homework, to imagine activities from the person's perspective. Do your best to put yourself inside the person's head or body. When working with clients who demonstrate cognitive behavioral challenges, make hypotheses about how they might be thinking when they exhibit odd behaviors. Eileen really made me think about this when you talked about floor, and I didn't even know what floor, I don't know if I'm hitting on it at all with DIR, floor time, but it's certainly relevant in different ways with different populations. With motor problems, a patient with motor difficulties, put yourself in that situation between sessions and try to do the activity that you want the person to be able to do, and see what would be the most effective way in that situation to do it. Okay. Another way of showing your respect is being thoughtful and creative about setting and meeting realistic goals. Your respect will come through not only in the way you interact, but in the care and planning that you devote to each session. An excellent OT, as I'm sure all of you are, shows up prepared for each session, ready to tailor goals and interventions toward each person's specific needs. I know many OTs have busy practices, but I do also know that you as excellent OTs don't wing it. When you have a session with a patient, you are ready for that. You've jotted down notes to yourself at the end of the previous session with ideas for what to focus on the next time, or what you want to improve in the way you've interacted or handled that person during that particular session. Jot it down. If you're a teacher and you're giving a class, after each class session, it doesn't take very long to make a couple of notes. Gee, I get to do this again next year or next semester. What can I remember now? What can I jot down to jog my memory then to make it a little bit better every single time? An excellent OT gives a reasonable to-do list to the family or to the client each at the end of each session, and then make sure to follow up when they come back to how did you do? Let's see what you've done since I was here the last time. Okay, so that's respect. These are all things that I consider to be entailed in respect for your clients and their caregivers. So the third area that I think is important for an excellent OT is that we need to be a resource about communities and participation. And I really want to congratulate, Suzanne was really instrumental in developing the community practice sequence, which makes the downstate students aware of community programs. Let's face it, an occupational therapist only sees an individual a couple of hours, depending on what your context is, a week. The rest of the time, the individual needs a life, needs to fill their time and have purpose and participation that are commensurate with their abilities. So it is our responsibility to be familiar with community programs that our clients might access. Now, certainly geographically, if you have a certain area geographically that you see, know about what community resources, religious programs, community programs. But perhaps even more important for people with long-term disabilities, an OT has to be a resource for groups, programs, online resources for others in this particular disability group. Now, this is something this was always important to me, but as a caregiver now, with a person with a particular diagnosis, this is really important to me that I have discovered in the Alzheimer's community, tremendous programs. It's just mind-boggling how many museums and cultural institutions, Lincoln Center, the Met Museum, MoMA, we are involved with because these programs exist. And the OT, most people don't find out about these programs. And an OT can be a resource that can guide individuals. And you can ask your patients, what they're involved, what they've learned. I think that's one of the great things about being a social worker. The inherent part of their job is to lead groups and have discussions with people so they find out how individuals are filling their time and how they are participating in their respective communities, and then can share it with others. And I think it's important that we as OTs play that role as well. Okay. The fourth area, I'm talking to the choir, preaching to the choir here, is lifelong professional growth. We need to keep learning. Forming networks, certainly, Beth gave a wonderful presentation about the importance of the community of NYSOTA. And we've got a lot of grads who live in New Jersey. So the New Jersey OT Association is also an important network. But network with professionals both inside OT and outside of OT. Keep abreast of the literature, both within OT and within related professions and disciplines. Be a savvy consumer of new ideas. I want to say savvy underlined. Not all new ideas are of the same merit. Check out the evidence, the theoretical foundation, and be open to learn new ways of approaching a given situation. Keep asking questions. Learn from each client. Find mentors to learn from, and many of the folks that I've been talking with, I know that you have mentors and you serve as mentors to other younger or to other therapists within OT and in other disciplines. Keep up with technology. Keep up with product development. It's amazing just to go on Amazon. If you ask the right questions, I think you can find almost anything in the world. Not giving a plug to buy from them, but just to learn, certainly. So keep up with technology and new products. And I want to I'm going to end with a quote that Ilan showed me. Ilan, of course, raise your hand, Ilan. Not a Downstate grad, but a 15-plus year member of our program advisory board, supervisor to countless fieldwork students at Bellevue Hospital, and has several of our alumni working and very, very happily at Bellevue Hospital. So here's the quote. It's a quote from Maya Angelou. And the quote is, "Do the best you can until you know better. Then, when you know better, do better."
Professor Emeritus Joyce Sabari, that was wonderful. Man. This is our 60th anniversary shawl.
Oh, I'm going to wear it down.
Yes. Since being in the role since 2022, I want to thank you for just being a phone call away, always being supportive, and helping me really settle in and have the vision for the program that I have. So I appreciate all your support. Thank you. All right, so good. Okay. I want to now move on to the next portion of the program, which is the recognition and awards. So I'm going to call a few names to the floor where you can, we'll take some photos. You can also bring your family and guests. Plenty of photos, today's world, we got to have evidence. So. Yes. So this first award is a special one. And, very cheekily, I like to call it Double Down at Downstate. Yeah, so as we celebrate 60 years of occupational therapy education at Downstate, I want to honor this truly special group of alumni. This Double Down at Downstate Award, the recipients earned their MS degree here and chose to return to pursue their post-professional occupational therapy doctorate. So doubling down. Yes. They've demonstrated really an enduring commitment to lifelong learning, professional growth, and loyalty to the Downstate community. So please join me in recognizing this outstanding group. First, I want to call Dr. Ardisa Phillips, Dr. Svetlana Prokopenko. I understand she's joining me by FaceTime, maybe. Dr. Musia Kriski-Rasky, is she joining by FaceTime? Maybe she couldn't make it today, but also Dr. So Ardisa, Dr. Phillips, Dr. Prokopenko are from the class of 2008. Dr. Musia Kriski-Raskin is class of 2014. I also want to invite who couldn't make it today, and their current students doubling down at Downstate, Michelle Korn, that's the class of 2021, and Pascal Siad. So let's give a hand to all of those who are doubling down. In another way, I would like to recognize another group of people who doubled down. They graduated from the program and decided to continue that connection with Downstate by working as faculty in the program, therefore doubling down. So I would like to call to the stage Dr. Dawn Tribble, class of 2009. Professor Laura Park, 2020 is a little hazy. We know why. and Professor Suzanne White, class of 1975. Thank you. Okay, so now I would like to call to the stage Dr. Crystal Brewington, who maybe can help me, give me a little helping hand. Thank you. Dr. Crystal Brewington leads our, as a certified hand therapist, leads our Theory and Practice 3, our orthopedic courses. So if you can help. Perfect, thank you. All right, so on to the Alumni Excellence Awards. This first honoree is the class of 1980, For nearly 4 decades, Jeffrey Tomlinson has been one of New York State's most influential occupational therapy advocates, helping shape legislation and advance the profession through his leadership and service. Please welcome Jeffrey Tomlinson. This next honoree, as an educator, administrator, scholar, and mentor, Patricia Gentili. Her leadership has strengthened the occupational therapy education and practice for more than 4 decades. Please welcome Patricia Gentili to the stage. Okay. I don't know if I mentioned class of 82? 82, yes. This next honoree is of the class of 1987, a pioneer in psychosocial occupational therapy and a recipient of the NBCOT Innovation Award, Patricia Present, or Pat Present. She has transformed mental health practice through innovation, education, and advocacy. Please help me welcome Pat Present to the stage. Okay. This next honoree couldn't make it today, but I definitely want to recognize his valuable contributions to the occupational therapy community, specifically here in New York. Nick Roselli, class of 1990, is a respected leader in hand and upper extremity rehabilitation. Nick has expanded access to specialized care while mentoring generations of occupational therapists. I think Dr. Thomas knows we can always get, and even Allison knows we can get him on the line anytime he wants to take a student. So please help me celebrate Nick Roselli. This next honoree is of the class of 1991. She's a nationally recognized hand therapist, researcher, and educator who has dedicated her career in advancing clinical practice and developing future leaders in the profession. Please join me in welcoming Aviva Wolf. Okay. This next honoree is of the class of 1993. An internationally recognized expert in wheelchair seating and mobility, Mary Shea Stifel has transformed lives through clinical innovation, research, and decades of teaching. Mary Shea. Yeah, and on a personal note, Mary has really been with me since my very beginning of when I was an adjunct. And all this time really just set an example for me of what it is like to create engaging experiences in the classroom through wheelchair seating and mobility. So really, I really appreciate all the support. Our next awardee is of the class of 2000. They're an innovative educator and scholar who has inspired future therapists through his leadership in assistive technology, participation-focused care, and occupational therapy education. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Leon Kirshner. All right. This next honoree is of the class of 2005. As a certified hand therapist, educator, and advocate, this person combines clinical excellence with an unwavering commitment to community service and peer support. Please join me in welcoming Leah Rubino. Also from the class of 2005, through their extraordinary mentorship and leadership, Sarah Scott has empowered countless students to overcome barriers and thrive as clinicians and healthcare leaders. Please join me in welcoming Sarah Scott. This next honoree is of the class of 2006. As an innovator in interprofessional education and community engagement, Zahava Friedman has created impactful programs that improve care for underserved families while training future professionals. Please join me in welcoming Zahava Friedman. Now, I've heard a lot from the class of 2008. They're well represented here. But this next honoree is of the class of 2008. She blends creativity, clinical expertise, relationship-based care, and has built a career dedicated towards helping children and families flourish. Please join me as we welcome to the stage Eileen Lamori. I also graduated in 2008 from another university, and I quit early. I said, we're not as close as the class of 2008 here. Also, yes, from the class of 2008, she is a passionate educator and practitioner who has reimagined pediatric occupational therapy through her work in play, the arts, and also inclusion and educational equity. Please join me as we welcome to the stage Lisa Raymond Tolan. Okay, this next honoree is from the class of 2011, an award-winning educator and innovator who has advanced inclusive education and neurodiverse student support while mentoring future occupational therapists. Please join me as we welcome to the stage Karen Shore. Okay, this next honoree is from the class of 2014. Through exceptional clinical care, leadership, and mentorship, this occupational therapist has advanced rehabilitation practice at Bellevue Hospital and improved their outcomes for countless patients and families. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Mallory Martyr. From the class of 2015, also from Bellevue Hospital, I want you to join me as we recognize Evan Luong. Evan is a clinician, a dynamic clinician and leader who has elevated acute care, occupational therapy through his innovation, mentorship, and commitment to excellence in patient care. And from the class of 2021, which 2021, 2020, he's a champion for equity, housing readiness, and trauma-informed care. His leadership and advocacy really is making a meaningful impact on individuals, communities, and future practitioners. Please join me as we welcome to the stage Braxton Willoughby. Thank you. Let's give Dr. Brewington a hand for the helpful hand. Okay, so that really concludes the formal portion of our program. But there's more, right? We're going to mingle. We're going to enjoy each other's company. Again, thank you so much for coming out today. We have some food set up here still in the lobby. But also, if you're so willing, the weather has cleared up. It has cleared up. And we have a space on the third floor where there's an outdoor terrace and some desserts and refreshments. So let's continue to fellowship and network And I definitely will connect with each of you in the remainder of the evening. So thank you so much.